but I've got so many questions for you, sir, and we appreciate you joining us today.
Not a problem, Alex, man. I'm a big fan.
Well, we're a fan of your work. A lot of people constantly ask me, and we're going to go to break here in a minute, about Illuminati. They see Jay-Z, all these rappers doing, all these weird Illuminati symbols and things like that. I know folks are going to pause that now and say, I was making those. I'm making those to show people. That's how they do that online. But the point is, you've exposed them. Bottom line, what's your take on that?
I mean, to me, it's definitely not a joke, man. It's a lot of real stuff going on out here in this world. Secret societies are real. It's definitely very obvious, that they're at work and it's at play in the music industry, in the food industry, politics. Everywhere you turn is everywhere. You just got to read the signs, you know what I mean? The writing on the wall, basically, is all in front of your face, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, once people just learn about it and do a little research about it all, they'll be able to see, like, oh, wow, I understand what's going on, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. You've got the floor. Lay it out. Break it down. I mean, this reported letter, when you were set up and sent to prison for exercising your Second Amendment rights, I mean, did you write this letter? And because it's very poignant, and, I agree with much of it. So you got the floor.
Yeah. I wrote a lot of letters while I was in there, man. I was doing this thing for Vibe magazine, just writing letters from prison, just expressing myself and things I wanted to get off my chest, things that were on my mind, and I wanted to let people know. And I wanted to show them, even though I was inside, locked in a prison, I wanted to show them that I still had no fear in my heart, about speaking my mind and letting people know what time it is. There's no reason for me to fear, because it's really nothing. There's nothing they can do besides kill me, and I'm not afraid of that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think right now they at the point where they would take it that far. I think they, like, this plan that they got into effect, and it's been in effect for hundreds of years or whatever. I think it's so embedded in people's brains now. They got people so brainwashed in this world that they don't even really care anymore. You know what I mean? About people like Alex Jones, people like Prodigy. Like, they're like, go ahead and tell the people all you want. We got these people so brainwashed, there's nothing you guys can do about it. That's how they feel. You know what I'm saying? And when I say they, I mean, the power and the structures that's in place, that's there to control us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, looking at it, well, it's twofold. 30, 40 years ago, if you talked about this, they would give you a fast-acting cancer. They would kill you. It's on record. Much of it's been declassified. But people still had courage and got the word out. And so because so many people spoke out, they've now flipped it and said, okay, we're growing the opium in Afghanistan. Okay, we're shipping the cocaine in. Okay, we're shipping the guns into Mexico to blame the Second Amendment. And so they've decided to just go with the revelation of the method instead, because they're desperate. But if we really try to shake people out of their trance, as you and others are doing across the board, we can beat them if we can get people out of the trance they're in.
Yeah, definitely. At the end of the day, I always say, like, God always wins at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Good always going to beat evil at the end of the day, man. No matter how bad it's looking, you know what I mean? No matter what's going on, you know what I mean? Good is always going to win. You know what I mean? But right now, you know what I mean? The devil definitely got the world in the headlock. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's definitely crazy. And it's at the point where they got it so far, like I said, they don't even care. They put it all in our face. You know what I mean? It's the information age. It's everywhere. It's all over the internet. What's going on? It's all in these books. It's in movies. It's in, it's all over the place. And they got people so brainwashed, you know what I mean, with all the, fashion and, jewelry, especially like in the hip-hop world, in the hip-hop community, in the urban communities where I come from, you know what I mean? They got us so brainwashed with fashion, jewelry, and and sex, and all this stuff. We don't even care to even think about what's going on. You know what I mean? A lot of the people that I'm around, I look at them sometimes, and all they're concerned about is what I just said, the fashion, the jewelry, the sex, all the stuff that is materialistic and stuff that is not going to do nothing for their soul or their life. Well,
you've had it all, and it's not like I've had it all, but I mean, I've had a lot of success, gotten to meet most of the famous people in Hollywood at one time or another, and once you meet them and find out that it's nothing, it's not fulfilling. What is fulfilling is having truth and information and decency and honor. And but for folks that have never really had some form of notoriety or fame, which you've had much greater than I have, they can't understand it. They're always scrambling for it, reaching for it. Do you agree with that statement? And what can you say to young people and others that feel unfulfilled because they're not somebody making $10 million a year like a top rap star?
Man, I would say it's not all about that, man. Life is not about that chasing that dream. Life is about, being happy. You know what I mean? It's about having a pure heart, pure soul, eating good, family. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Love. You know what I'm saying? Your relationship with your spouse or whatever. These are the things that life is about, raising your children properly, making sure that, each generation gets better than the last one, smarter, healthier than the last one, all of that. These are the things that life is about. It's not really about chasing all these crazy dreams, you know what I mean? Because, even though people want, people want success, anybody wants to be successful, you know what I mean, in life and have some decent money where you could be comfortable and things like that. But, some people really just take it too far and they get caught up in that whole money and success thing, you know what I mean?
Yes, I think it's a hierarchy of needs. Success is great as long as you don't compromise to get it, and as long as the success itself isn't the goal. Success in doing good, success in beautiful art, success in developing things, that's wonderful. The globalists, the controllers, create a false success and set up false icons for us so that we'll chase, basically, it's false idols.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it is, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, it's bad, man. It's bad because, I try to reach out and, share the information that I know with a lot of people, you know what I mean? Just stuff that I've read over the years and learned about what's really going on, with this government and what's really going on, in this world and everything, and how we should really be living and taking care of our families and our life. And I try to share a lot of the information with, my friends, my peers, or whatever that I grow up with, or that I'm around a lot. And I had to learn the hard way that, you can't just push information on people. You know what I mean? They gotta want to know it. You know what I mean? They gotta want to change their life.
They've got to open the door.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And it's sad that it's like that, but really that's how it is, man. I know a lot of people now that I see, they were like, yo, Prodigy, man, what can I do? I was getting a lot of letters while I was in prison, right? And people would write me and say, yo, Prodigy, what can I do, man? I'm trying to share information with my homeboys, my friends, and they're not listening, they don't care, And I would write them back, listen, they got to want their information, man. They got to want that change in their life, man. You can't just make people, change. That's something that's a phenomenon that has to happen on its own.
Prodigy of Mobb Deep, legendary icon of hip-hop and rap, is our guest, really exposing the Illuminati program. And we were getting into, folks, coming to him and saying, we're trying to wake up, folks, and they're not listening. It's because they're following a false mirage, a false culture sold to them by the social engineers. But the good news is we're beginning to break through. And one of the most common questions I get is, get Prodigy on. You know, he's talking about stuff you're talking about. So here he is, sir. And you got cut off by the break. This is a short segment. You were talking about people have to want it. And then let's get into your view on the Illuminati and who's running this system.
Yeah, so, you know, like I was saying, you know, it's hard to get people to listen and to get people to want to change. They got to want that change on their own. That'll never happen. You can't force somebody to want to change their life and change their way of thinking to understand what's really going on, that they've been manipulated. Their parents and their grandparents have been manipulated. You know, it's hard to break somebody out of that spell, you know, and their way of thinking and their belief system. You know what I mean? Because
yes.
they're in a comfortable space where, you know, it just shatters their whole entire world, like, and their way of thinking. It hurts too much. It's way too comfortable for them to just stay the way they are. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like Neo in The Matrix when Morpheus gives him the red pill, and he goes, look, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, that's a difficult thing, you know, and I found that real challenging, you know what I mean, growing up and you know, dealing with the environment that I come from, you know, that street world where, you know, it's a lot of knuckleheads, you know what I mean? It's real difficult to reach them, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I had to learn the hard way that, you know, I'll just sit back and the people that are around me that notice what I'm all about and the things that I learn and, you know, the things that I put in my music a lot, and those that want that change in their life, they'll come to me. I don't even have to find them. You know what I mean?
How did you begin to awaken?
I mean, it was about 1989. You know, I went to high school in Manhattan. I went to art and design, where I met my music partner, Havoc. You know what I mean? And back then, they used to have these tables out in the street on random corners in, like, Queens and Manhattan, Bronx and Brooklyn, all the 5 boroughs or whatever. They used to have these tables, and it was like Muslim guys selling books. You know what I mean? Or they looked like they were Muslim to me, you know what I mean? Because they had on the garb, the hats, and you know, the whole get-up or whatever. So I used to stop at the tables, and I used to buy this coconut oil. Because it smelled, I like how it smelled, you know what I mean?
Yes.
There was this guy named Dr. York. You know, he had a community in Brooklyn called the Ansar Law community. And basically he had his people out in the street selling books and the Muslim oils and different things like that, like incense and stuff like that. So I used to stop at the table to pick up this coconut oil because I liked how it smelled, you know, because the girls liked it. So at the table, they would sell these books written by Dr. York. You know what I mean? And there was a book. The first books that I read were books on, like, the holidays. One book was about Christmas. One was about Easter. And it showed, like, the origin of these pagan, you know, evil holidays. So I picked it up, and I was like, what the hell is this? Because they had the Christmas book had the Santa Claus looking like Satan on the cover. So it was just, like, strange. I never saw nothing like that before. You know, I was only like 16. So I picked up the book, and I started getting into it. And I started learning who Dr. York is and what he's about and the stuff that he teaches. And then I started reading a lot of his books. And I realized that, you know, this dude was basically teaching, you know, people, especially black people, you know, about our origin and where we come from and how we, you know, we have a great history in this world and how we were, like, basically brainwashed, you know, and soul-washed of all of our history and of who we are and everything.
Well, that's right. If you go back to Roman times, no one looked at and said black men were inferior. I mean, that wasn't even, you know, debated or discussed, and you can lay out your historical review. But what really, from my research, you go back 500 years ago, they wanted to start this transatlantic slave trade, and they had indentured servants who were white in Europe, but they said, hey, we can use Bible passages and distort them, dealing with Ham and Cain and Abel, and say that these people deserve to be slaves, and it actually took some selling, but because the sailors themselves from Europe were mainly pressed and slaves on the ships, if you actually research it, I mean, most of them were captured and put on the ships to run them. That's why there were so many people breaking off and becoming pirates, that then they sold that idea, and that really is an idea that didn't exist till, what, 500 years ago?
Yeah, exactly. You know, they flipped it in a lot of the Bible, so-called Bible stories and all that, or whatever. So, you know, Dr. York was just putting it out there, you know what I mean, and really, you know, exposing it to the world, you know, and sharing the information with everybody and accepting everybody also. You know, no matter what color you are, no matter what race you are, he was teaching that this is information that need to be, you know, just that needs to be put out there, needs to be learned, that can help save your soul.
When did you start learning about the Illuminati? Because you told me you've seen the Obama deception, you know, the radio show. I said, well, what's your favorite clip? And you said the Bohemian Grove, the David Gergen situation.
Yeah. I mean, through his books, you know, through Doc's books, that's how I learned about it. That's how I bumped into it. Because, you know, it all coincides with each other. You know what I mean? Once you start learning the origin of things and you start learning, you know, the background of things or what's going on, you're going to stumble on this word Illuminati, and you're going to stumble on, you know, the whole diabolical plan and the whole grand scheme of things of what's happening, you know what I mean? So that's how I bumped into it. And then, you know, later on, years down the line, you know, I started doing research to make, I'm like, this is too unbelievable. The information that I was learning was like too incredible, you know what I mean? So it forces you to do your own research. It forces you, like back then, there wasn't no internet when I was growing up, you know what I mean? So I had to go to the library, you know what I mean, and check books out.
That's what I did, the exact same thing. So you've been awake for close to 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, I've been learning ever since I was like 16. I've been learning, doing research. So, you know, I'm 36 now, you know what I mean? So that's about, 20 years, you know what I mean? I've been really doing my research, you know what I mean, and studying this whole thing. You know, so I started in the libraries, finding old books and just passing around information that used to get passed around the street, like different VHS videotapes that a lot of the people that I knew in the street life, like a lot of my criminal friends, you know, they weren't all just just dumb criminals running around. A lot of them were very intelligent. You know what I mean? A lot of them...
Well, that's the economy, like they say in The Godfather, that for 100 years they've been shipping the illegal contraband into those black neighborhoods to make that the zone where it was acceptable. So people say, oh, look, these people are criminals. Well, the point is that's the economy that was set up there by the system.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Exactly. And it's a... it's a stereotypical thing that people look at us like, oh, whatever, he's just or whatever, you know what I mean? But anyway, a lot of my friends, you know what I mean, we would pass around information to each other, videotapes of like, I think it was called Illuminati 2000. It was this crazy show that we used to watch, and it had, I forget the guy's names on there.
Anthony Hilder?
Yeah, exactly. Anthony Hilder and the other guy with the glasses.
Ted Gunderson. Ted Gunderson. He just died over the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Jordan Maxwell.
Oh yeah.
Guy. They used to be on those tapes a lot with Anthony Hilder. So we used to watch those. We used to pass them around, and this is how we got more into it. We like, damn. I started seeing these tapes. I'm like, hold up. This is the same thing that Dr. York was talking about. So the dots started connecting. You know what I mean? When the internet came around, I would research all the things that I was learning from Hilda, Maxwell, York, and from everybody. Then I bumped into your information, Alex Jones. And I'm like, wow, everybody is saying the same thing. You know what I mean? It got to be real. You know what I mean?
And we'll look at Skull and Bones. ABC got footage. They're worshiping Satan, doing mock human sacrifices. Then I go into Bohemian Grove. Here are the Christian conservative leaders and corporate leaders worshiping a big stone owl and bringing male prostitutes in. And people are like, oh, let them have fun. The point is they're not who they say they are out in the public.
Yeah, they're doing all this ritualistic murder and rituals on little, you know, they molesting little kids, doing satanic sex rituals. Like, this stuff is really going on in this world. Like, you know what I mean? You got, you know, sick people like Jeffrey Dahmer and different people like that. And I believe that it was a different background to it, why he was doing what he was doing. I think it was some ritualistic things going on,